What's up, wig splitters? 8-week challenge time. Starting January 1st to February 26th, we're gonna reward the best transformations, men or women. You're gonna get rewarded. 5 G's first place, second place 1,500. Then we're gonna do 5 runner-ups for some yard time. Go to wigsplitterworkout.com for all the details. Let's get in the best shape of your life and go split some wigs.
You know, I never saw anyone go to prison pregnant. I never even talked about it before. It wasn't something ever on my radar. Now I have no kids, no experience with pregnancy. I had no idea what it's even like to be pregnant or have a kid or any of that, you know? So I tried to lie to myself just to get through that time. Mm-hmm. You know, 6 months doesn't sound like a lot, but in a dirty ass county jail, when you're locked up with people that don't like you, and then people that you sold drugs to, it's just an awkward environment, mm-hmm. you know? And it just wasn't a good place for me. I still didn't change my mindset in that time. You know, even though I was pregnant, it didn't hit me yet. I signed my plea and I go to prison. And, you know, I'm getting fatter and fatter, and it hits me. Like, this is really happening. Like, I'm really gonna have a kid in prison. So originally they sent me to a max, mm-hmm. just to be like transferred out to a medium because I was pregnant. And I get there's some other pregnant women, and they want to talk to me about my baby and like where she's going. And I'm from New York, so I don't have family here. And just in order to get a kid out of prison, like, you have to go through some stuff. Your family would have to come pick up the kid. So that would have taken my family a lot of time and resources that we just did not have. So my daughter went into foster care. Now I'm in this dorm with women that have lost their kids to the system. They're telling me, New York, you're not going to get that kid back. You're not going to get her back.
All this negative stuff.
Mad negativity. And I'm just like, I had to just distance myself from those people.
Yeah.
Because you're not going to tell me what I'm not going to do. Like, you can't tell me that I'm not going to get my kid. You don't know me. You don't know anything about me. So I was really isolated a couple of months after my daughter was born. It was the most traumatic, horrifying experience of my life. And I'll never forget when I saw, my daughter's name is Micah, when I saw her face, it just hit me like, you need to stop being this person. Like, what the fuck have you been doing? It's not about you anymore. It's not about what you want. It's about this little girl. And it was almost just like a light bulb had gone off. You know, like, my whole life was shit until this moment. So I don't know if you want to talk about like what it's like to have a baby in prison, but it's awful. It's traumatic. It's something that I wouldn't wish on my worst enemy.
I mean, I know usually having a child is just such a joyous experience. Yeah. Everybody's really, you know, happy and you know, and you got all this support, and I could only imagine just I mean, just for me being in jail, I'm like, it's horrible. I mean, you know, like you said, you're around these people and everybody like, oh, you know, I've been back and forth and blah, blah, blah. And they're telling you all this stuff. You're like, dude, I'm not trying to hear what you're saying because you're not me. You know, I'm the same. I felt the same way. And it's like, you know, you're trying to think it be as positive as possible. So I know it just had to really be, man, just very impactful on you. So I mean, I don't know how you were even able to cope with that, man, and make it out with your sanity. I mean, you know, I know it was a really rough time. I mean, what was the time between you having your child and then you getting out?
So a year or so, a little over.
Were you, so, I mean, during that time, the child was in foster care?
She went to foster care. So let me back up just a little bit, just so that we can, you know, share what it's like to have that baby in prison. So
Okay.
about 4 o'clock, they call for chow. And I get up for chow and my back hurts really bad. And I'm like, oh, I slept like shit because prison mattress is this thick.
Yeah.
And it's just, you don't get anything extra either when you're
Yeah.
pregnant. So the mattress
No special anything.
nothing. I mean, I got doctor's appointments in the infirmary. But in county jail, they would take me to the doctor in public. And I would be in orange, shackled up, pregnant, going to the doctor.
Yeah, I hate that.
Whew, embarrassing. People would take pictures of me. It was very embarrassing.
Well, everybody looks at you like, what'd you do? Like, oh my God,
Exactly.
like, you know, scholar's letter or something.
Yeah, literally, you know, so that was rough. But yeah, I went into labor at 4 a.m., still in complete denial that it's labor. I'm like, I slept like shit. So my friend is like, you are in labor? Are you insane? And I'm like, I'm fine. And keep in mind, I'm trying to eat like grits.
Oh
We're in
my
the
God.
South, right? And I'm like, ugh, and I just dropped my spork. You don't get a spoon or a fork. So I just dropped it and she's like, we need to tell the cops. Now, at this point, there are only 2 things I go to the cops for: toilet paper and my mail. So I'm like, I don't want to tell them anything, you know? So finally she's just like, yo, come on, like she's got to go. The correctional officers told me to walk to the infirmary. I'm in active labor.
Your
I
water
didn't get
already
a
broke and
wheelchair.
everything?
My water didn't break.
Okay.
I thought that was the most embarrassing thing too, because I saw that happen to someone else. I'm
Yeah.
like, please don't let that happen to me. Like, that, not that that matters at
Yeah,
all.
yeah. I mean,
but-
it's a child coming, so.
yeah. But yeah, they're like, walk to the infirmary, inmate. And I'm like, awesome. Appreciate that. So I'm like hobbling, like I'm walking in pain. And I walked all the way to the infirmary, and it's prison. So they got to pop a door, and it's taking so long. I'm like, fuck.
It's like slow motion.
Yeah, just stand there and you're waiting, like having a baby today, but you take your time. So they're popping it, and I just felt like every time a door popped for me to go to a different unit to get to the infirmary, it just felt like 20 minutes. I mean, it just felt like so long. I finally get there thinking like, oh girl, you made it. Like, you made it. They're gonna help you. They sat me in a wheelchair with like a puppy pad underneath me almost, and they said, you're gonna have to wait till shift change.
Oh my God. You gotta be kidding me.
Yeah.
Wow.
Shift change.
And they're like cracking jokes in there. That's like whatever.
Yeah, so shift change doesn't happen until 7:30. It's like 4:30.
Oh my God.
So I'm sitting there, I'm looking at the clock, and all I could think is, I wish my mom was here. And I had not thought that my whole life.
Wow.
You know, like I was always there for my mom.
Yeah.
I never thought like, fuck, I just wish my mom was here. I'm sitting there, people are just walking past me. No one cared.
Yeah,
I'm
no
in
sympathy.
pain, you know? So they're walking past me, just ignoring me. All I want to do is like snatch a phone out of someone's hand, like the desk phone or something. Like, can I call out on this fucking thing? You can't.
So
but-
there was no doctor they called immediately to come in there or anything?
No. They called an ambulance at shift change. So, you know, and prisons are way out, so
Yeah.
it takes time. I was very fortunate to get 2 correctional officers that were actually really nice to me in this experience. So the correctional officer, she had just had her grandbaby, so she's just excited to see another baby.
So, but I mean, in between that time, I mean, so what do they think? The officer was like, oh, whatever. There's like no, like, hey, she's gonna have a baby. This can be on her. So when they come in, they're like, well, are you all right? I mean, what is that? I mean, what is that vibe like? 'Cause I mean, if you're sitting there for 2-3 hours, and it's like you've been in labor. What are they?
Yeah, I don't remember what they even said to me. I remember saying like, I'm in labor, and I think a nurse just told me to sit down. You know, I don't even really remember. I was so out of it. So yeah, I'm full blown like contractions. By the time we get to the hospital, I was about 6 centimeters dilated.
Damn.
So it was a lot. I was able to get an epidural, but in this moment, like you said, it's supposed to be happy. Like a new life is coming into the world. It's supposed to be this awesome thing. I had 2 cops on my shoulders, and I was just trying so hard to make it seem like I was okay. I'm like, just be strong through this. Be strong through this. Everyone around me is talking to the cops. They're not talking to me. They're not asking me how I feel.
Not paying no
if I'm
attention,
okay.
nothing.
No, you're an inmate.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, this is a free world hospital,
Yeah.
but they have to talk to the cops. And to them, they were more concerned with the policy and like if they could do this or do that than me.
Yeah.
And that just made me feel like shit, you know? So my daughter was born. About 4 hours after, these officers had to leave. A new officer comes in and she said, "Why are you not leg chained?" And I said, "Excuse me? I can't get up if I tried. Like, I just had a child." Like, she said, "I don't care. Policy is you have to be leg chained." So 4 hours after I just gave birth to my first child, I had a chain on my leg connected to the bed, and I couldn't get up. She wouldn't let me get up to walk around to heal. She wouldn't let me barely go to the bathroom. She was very, very hostile and shitty with me. So that was my experience, you know?
I think I think that, to me, I know, like, because I've been to a street hospital from prison, and to me, like, that was like the most dehumanizing thing I ever experienced, just because people don't even look at you like you're real.
Right.
It's like you're just an animal. You're just like some society reject. So there's no compassion, and you're just like sitting there like, I was like handcuffed to the thing. The cops are sitting there, and everybody looking like, oh, big black, like, what are you doing here? What'd you do? So it's like, I know the feeling, and it's a horrible feeling, man. And it's like, man, I never want to experience that again. But I feel for you. I mean, and like you said, the guards, they're looking at you like, who cares? You know, so what? You know, you're not even valued the same as other people. So
You're definitely not. I mean, they really just don't care. In any situation I've ever been in, you know, like segregation or whatever, that was hard. This is a whole new ball game.
Yeah,
you know,
man,
so seg sucks, but at the end of the day, like, I'm a human that just made a human. That's like a superpower to me. Like, that's so amazing. And
create a life.
Like, I get it, I broke the law. I definitely deserve to go to prison. It actually saved my life because my addiction was so bad. I was a drug dealer. I deserve to go to prison. But there's just a line between basic human rights and the fact that we are human that just made a mistake and protecting us or protecting society from us.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just awful. In my personal opinion, prison does not work. It does not work.
No, I mean, definitely when I, hear comments from people from other countries and they talk about rehabilitation, and for you to come out now and be able to do this interview and have some type of compassion, I mean, it's like you look at how people treat you and you come out like, man, F society, I don't give a damn. You can have just that total negative, attitude because of how you've been treated. Mm-hmm. And to fight that is so hard to, not go that route and actually say, you know what, I can be a good person, I can do positive, and I can't let this break me. So, for you having a child, I mean, for it not to have broke you to where you didn't care anymore, I think that, man, you're beyond stronger than, most of the guys I've ran across, because dudes is like, I see it, man, I can't do it, they just lose it, and I don't know, I can't imagine like being, your child being taken away, then you having to still do another year and try to keep your sanity to figure out what you're going to do when you get out. So having just had your child and realizing that you had to change your life, I mean, what was going through your mind at that point so that you could figure out how to get out and be successful and also get your child back?
So that's the thing, I didn't know how to be successful. All I ever knew was selling dope and guns. That's all I knew. But I knew if I could do that and survive all the shit that I survived in my past, I could do anything. So the first thing on my mind was get out, get your daughter. So I had to go to a halfway house, and I was working 2 jobs, just trying to save as much as I could and hustle. Keep in mind, I had friends from the feds tell me, use my name, go to this house, pick up some dope, and you can get a car and an apartment in 2 weeks. Like, what are you doing? You're wasting time. You've been in prison for 1.5 years. Like, your daughter is 1.5 years. Like, you need to...
Trying to get you back in the game.
Yeah, and I don't think that their heart was in the wrong place. I think they would just only know that.
Yeah.
Prison can make you a completely different person. So 63% of all inmates have PTSD once they leave. I think I do have that. I think a lot of my past and going to prison definitely affected me, but I couldn't focus on any of the negativity. So let me just back up a little bit. In prison, I just decided, if I could do all of that, I need to pour all of my energy to go in the other direction. I'm just capable of anything. I have to just do this. So I was so laser focused, I wouldn't let anyone come around me with the bullshit. I wouldn't let anyone talk about a meth recipe. I mean, we're in Arkansas. That's literally what they talk about in prison.
Wow.
Don't talk about that shit with me. Don't come near me. Just stay away from me. And I decided if this obstacle gets placed in my way, this is how I'm going to respond. If the judge says this in my case, this is how I'm going to respond. And, I already made up my mind. So when I hit the street, working 2 jobs was nothing to me. Work 2 jobs work as much as you can. It doesn't even matter if you're exhausted. You've just had a 2.5 year break. Get the fuck to work. That was my mentality. So after about 1 year of my release, I finally got a really shitty duplex. People didn't want to rent to me, so it took me 7 months to find this really shitty duplex.
No credit history, nothing.
And you're a felon. That was the main thing in Arkansas. So you're a convicted felon, a multiple time felon. We're
you
not
have to put that on the application?
Every time.
Wow.
So Arkansas is really rough. New York's you got money, you promise, cool, you can live here.
Yeah.
Arkansas is just a different beast. So it took me a lot of time to find an apartment. And then it took me a really long time to find a Scion boxcar, like the toaster boxcar. That's what I had. And I was so happy. I'm like, this cost $2,000. That's great. Like, this is the best car ever. I didn't get it with drug money. So to me, it was just the best thing ever, right? But I'll never forget when the judge told me, like, you can leave court. Like, you have your daughter after every single week going to visit her 4 hours away, hustling up rides, hustling up gas money to see her for 2 hours, then drive home for 4 hours, working around 2 work schedules, trying to go to NA or AA because they make you go, and I'm an addict. So I was so busy. I was so tired, but I was getting it done. Like, I might not have $12 in my bank account, but the rent's paid. And, that's a huge accomplishment for me. So by the time the judge said, you now have full legal custody of your daughter, it just felt like a huge weight just got lifted off of my shoulders. And I drove home with her. It was a 45-minute drive back to our house. And I'm just looking at her in the rearview mirror. And I'm like, girl, like, we did it.
How old is she at this point?
She was 2,
wow,
almost 3. So she's just the cutest, fattest little baby ever. And I'm just like, we did this, girl. We did this. And then I get home and I'm like, now what do I do? I can't even make spaghetti. Like,
you got baby food together, like,
Well, she's almost 3, so she was eating food, but it's like, I don't know what to do, kid. I can get some frozen pizza. Like, so that was a transition for us, but also for her, because she had only known the foster family, and they're amazing. We still talk to this day. Great people. And they helped me a lot too. I'm like, she's crying about this. Like, what do I do? So I could call them and reach out when I'm like, I'm a little tired. She's not wanting to sleep in her own bed. My daughter is very hyper, needs like this much sleep, and I need like this much sleep. So it was a lot to adjust to, but it was just the most amazing thing ever. So I was blessed along the way to get a better job, and then a better job, and then I was a student. So now in March, I will graduate with my bachelor's degree in psychology.
Wow, congrats.
Obviously, I'm a YouTuber, so I've just kind of kept that same momentum this whole time.
Wow.
Like, work 2 jobs. Okay, cool. Now you have a decent job and a kid. Now you're a student, and I just keep kind of juggling more things. At first, I was juggling 2. Now I'm at like 9 pins going strong. So I think to anyone watching that's still struggling, you just have to start small. Start with one goal, and then another, and just keep layering it, And I'm really proud of what I've accomplished, but I have so much further to go,
And in retrospect, I always ask people this: what would you have told a younger version of you? Like, if you could have crossed paths, and you being like a mentor to a young Jessica, what do you think you could have said, or if there's anything at all you could have said that could have maybe have changed your path, a younger version?
Sit down. What the fuck are you doing? No, I never thought I'd be a mother. I never thought I'd live to see the age of 30. I just turned 30. So I probably would have just told myself, like, you're going to have a little girl that you adore more than life itself. You need to start thinking about her. She just really gave me a purpose, and my life didn't mean anything before I had my daughter. So one day I'll be able to tell her this amazing story of how she was with me during the hardest time of my life, and I changed it all for her. I'm literally sitting here because of that little girl.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's just like, man, that's a hell of a story. That's like a Lifetime movie or something.
Right?
Man, that's like pretty crazy.
Hit us up, Lifetime.
If you could say anything else to our audience as far as, young women out there who are going through the game, who are, just maybe dealing with an addiction or something, what would you tell them?
Addiction's hard. It's a really tough beast because a lot of people think they can't get out. They think, oh, I'm just an addict, I'm stuck. If it's something hard like heroin, you just don't want to be sick. Most addicts aren't out there getting high on heroin. They're just not sick. They're just existing. So I think the biggest fear with getting off a drug like that is the pain, but that pain is so temporary. It's necessary, but it's temporary. And to just fight through that, because life is so much more beautiful than I could have ever imagined when I was using heroin. I think that was just a huge wake-up call. The first couple of years, even coming off of drugs, I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin. I had to give myself time. So I think as addicts, we want that quick, fix, So of course we want our life completely fine instantly because we've been chasing this thing, this connection with this drug. So you have to chase sobriety, like you chase your addiction every single day and just fight for it. Because you're literally fighting for your own life.
Wow. What are your social media outlets, so in case people want to hit you up or talk to you about different things they're going through? How would they get a hold of you?
So I'll give you all my stuff, but you can reach out to me on email or Instagram. If it is email, please let me know if it's an addiction so that I see it quicker.
Okay.
But all that stuff is on my YouTube channel as well.
Okay, and we'll also have it in the link in the description. Wow, it's been a great interview, very informative. I mean, you know, having you on our channel is, I think, a blessing, and being able to share your story with young people out there is just, you know, hopefully something that could provoke some change in their life. I thank you, and hey, you guys, Big Herc Fresh out, getting down with Jessica Kent.